Let me ask you something. Have you ever spent hours updating your resume, tailoring it for a specific position, uploading it to multiple job boards, and then finally receiving that call you've been waiting for? But there is a growing concern among job seekers about a practice commonly referred to as resume farming. Today we're going to explore what job seekers often mean when they use that term, and why some recruiters seem to disappear after collecting your information, how fake recruiter scams operate, and most importantly, how you can protect yourself during your job search. Before we dive into recruiter behavior, we need to understand the environment that makes this possible. Today's job market is highly competitive. Technology professionals often find themselves competing against hundreds of candidates for a single position. Many professionals report submitting dozens, sometimes even hundreds, of applications before securing interviews. That means something important. Resumes have become valuable. Not just to employers, not just to recruiters, but to anyone looking to build a database of skilled professionals. Think about what a resume contains. Your full name, contact information, employment history, technical skills, certifications, security clearances, work locations, salary expectations. For legitimate recruiters, that information helps connect you to a job. For scammers and bad actors, that information may have value even if you never get hired. And that's where the concerns begin. Resume farming is a term frequently used by job seekers to describe the collection of resumes in large quantities without a clear or immediate hiring purpose. It's important to understand that collecting them is not unusual. Staffing firms, recruiters, and employers often build candidate pipelines for future opportunities. However, the concern arises when candidates are contacted about jobs that never progress beyond the initial conversation, leaving them wondering whether the opportunity was genuine or simply a way to gather candidate information. In some documented cases, fraudulent recruiters have used fake job opportunities to collect resumes and personal information from job seekers. For the candidate, the experience often feels the same. No interview. No employer contact. No job. Just another resume sent into the system with no explanation of what happened next. And that's why many professionals have become increasingly skeptical when a recruiter requests information but fail to provide meaningful updates afterward. Many recruiters legitimately search public job boards and professional networking platforms for qualified candidates. Employers, staffing firms, and recruiters use these databases every day to identify potential applicants. Unfortunately, scammers also target these same platforms because resumes often contain valuable professional and personal information. The moment you update your resume with keywords like AWS, Azure, Python, Java, cybersecurity, DevOps, project management, you become more visible to recruiters searching for those skills. And if your skills are in demand, so is your contact information. The next step is the outreach. You'll get a call, email, or text. It often sounds something like this.
Hi Lisa, I found your resume and I think you'd be a perfect fit for one of my clients. Do you have a few minutes to talk?
Sure. Can you tell me a little about the position?
Absolutely. They're looking for someone with your background in cloud infrastructure and Azure administration. Your experience really stood out. This role is moving quickly. We need to submit candidates immediately. Can you send an updated resume right now?
Why the rush? Sometimes urgency is legitimate. When a hiring manager has an immediate need, recruiters do move fast. But when everything is always urgent, it may be worth asking additional questions. Next comes the request. An updated resume. A right to represent agreement. Contact information. Availability. Location details. It's worth noting that a right to represent agreement, often called an RTR, is commonly used by legitimate staffing firms, especially in contract IT recruiting. An RTR by itself is not a red flag. The key is understanding exactly which company is requesting it, who the end client is, and what specific position you are being submitted for. In some cases, recruiters may even request information that's already visible on your LinkedIn profile. At this point, many candidates assume the recruiter has a direct relationship with the hiring company. That assumption isn't always correct. And that's where things can become confusing. One legitimate reason recruiters collect resumes is to build talent pipelines for future opportunities. Many agencies maintain databases of skilled professionals so they can quickly respond when positions become available. The problem for job seekers occurs when there is little transparency about whether an active opening actually exists or whether their information is simply being added to a database for future use. Some job seekers believe recruiters occasionally collect candidate profiles before securing a recruiting agreement with an employer. In those situations, a recruiter may be attempting to demonstrate access to qualified talent while pursuing new business opportunities. While not every agency operates this way, a lack of transparency about the relationship between the recruiter and the employer can leave candidates feeling misled. Be cautious when dealing with organizations whose branding appears extremely generic. Examples might include names like Global Staffing Solutions, Talent Resource Services, Professional Consulting Group. A legitimate company can certainly have a generic name, but generic branding combined with other red flags should encourage further investigation. Always check the email address. If someone claims to represent a large organization but contacts you from Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, or a domain that appears to have been recently created, then you need to proceed carefully. Legitimate recruiters typically use official business email accounts. Ask questions such as, who is the client? Is this contract or full-time? What's the interview process? How many candidates have already been submitted? What is the timeline? If basic questions consistently produce vague answers, consider slowing down and doing more research. This is a major warning sign. Be extremely cautious if someone asks for Social Security, information from your driver's license, copies of your passport, details of your banking accounts, information tax documentation, before you've completed a legitimate hiring process. Protecting your identity should always come first. One of the easiest ways to verify a recruiting opportunity is to look for the position on the employer's official careers page. If a recruiter claims to represent a major company but cannot identify the employer, cannot provide a clear job description, or the position cannot be found anywhere else, take time to investigate further. A legitimate recruiter should be able to explain who the client is, what the role involves, and how the hiring process works. Create a separate email account exclusively for job applications. If the address begins receiving unwanted messages, your primary account remains protected. A service such as Google Voice can help separate recruiter calls from your personal communications. It also gives you greater control over who can contact you. Your resume does not need your full street address or location. It should never have your social security number, driver's license number, personal information. At the end of the day, being ghosted by a recruiter does not automatically mean you've been targeted by a scam. Sometimes positions are canceled. Sometimes budgets change. Sometimes hiring freezes occur. Sometimes companies collect applications for future openings. And yes, sometimes scammers use fake opportunities to gather information from job seekers. Have you ever been ghosted by a recruiter after sending your resume? What happened? What warning signs did you notice afterward? Share your experience in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.